Welcome to the standing yoga practice. Taking time during this short introduction to get yourself settled into your space. You can perform this sequence either standing up or sitting in a chair. At the end of our practice, we'll be moving to the floor, so bringing a mat or being on a carpeted surface may be supportive. Each yoga movement provides an opportunity to connect deeply with yourself. Paying close attention to the body can be nourishing and assist in supporting your own health and well-being. It is important to choose a time and place where you feel comfortable and where you won't be interrupted. You might choose loose, comfortable clothing or untucking your shirt so that your movements aren't restricted. It is important to follow the needs of your body rather than following the instructions precisely. If certain movements aren't right for you, let your own body guide you. Modify the poses or even skipping over parts that aren't right for you at this time. Cultivating acceptance of how your body is and practicing patience with yourself is best. No need to strive for any particular result, as with all of our practices. We are interested in what is happening in the moment rather than how we think things should be. Anytime you notice that you wish things were different, just notice the thoughts and let them pass, coming back to the sensations of the body. The benefits of this practice coming from being within our body as it is now and really getting to know it in this moment. It is important to work within our own limits, exploring what is right for your body and not going beyond your limits. Getting to know what is right here, right now. All that is asked is that you make the time to do these poses and that your effort is sincere. Setting an intention to be present with each pose and connecting more deeply with yourself. As we begin, we start by standing up tall, with feet hip-width apart, in mountain pose. Arms fall down along the sides of the body. Eyes can be open, closed, or even have a soft gaze depending on your comfort level. Feeling the body, connecting in mountain pose. Feeling the feet rooted into the floor, providing this stability and grounding. Really allowing ourselves to find balance and stability in this pose. Feeling into mountain pose. Now from this position, maybe doing a modified body scan. Moving through the body, starting in the feet. Allowing all of our attention to land in the feet. Slowly moving up the body, moving up towards the knee area. The hips. The torso. The arms. Shoulders and neck. The head. Maybe taking a moment to just notice the entire body as a whole. Feeling from head to toe. And as you're doing this, just allowing yourself to notice what's calling out for your attention in the body. Are there areas of tension or tightness? Feelings of strength and stability? Maybe areas of weakness and instability? Just staying open and receptive. Just noticing the body and how it feels in this moment, without judgment. Just checking in with the body. Now you might choose to even experiment as we start to get into movement. And we allow ourselves to just lean forward a little bit. And then maybe backwards a little bit. Noticing as weight pushes into the toes. And then as we move back, as the weight transfers into the heels. Just noticing how the body can generally stabilize itself. So we just lean forward and lean backwards, just slightly, feeling this shift of weight and pressure in the feet. Now returning to a stable position. Allowing balance to spread throughout the feet. Shoulders are over the hips. The spine is vertical. The feet are planted on the floor. We're looking straight ahead with eyes open or closed or soft. As we're fully present in this standing posture, this mountain pose. And now for mountain pose, allowing the arms to slowly rise up to the sides until they reach the level of your shoulders. Just exploring the limit of that range. Going slow enough that you feel right up to where it feels comfortable. And just pausing the body in a T shape. And on an exhale, allowing the arms to lower back down to your sides. Remembering this is your practice, so going at your own pace. Exploring in your own way. And when ready, you can raise the arms slowly all the way up until they reach straight out overhead or until you've reached your limit. Really being mindful of your shoulders and their range of motion. You're the expert with your body. And then from up overhead or wherever the arms are positioned, slowly lowering the arms back down. Once they reach your sides, pausing. And again, raising the arms back up overhead And paying attention to the muscles working as we do this. Really feeling into this stretch. Allowing the arms to slowly lower once again to the sides of the body. And then when you're ready, just repeating this motion a few times at your own pace. Just really taking your time. It can be easy to lose touch with the breath when we're focusing on a particular movement or area of the body. So just being observant. When you're ready, returning the arms down by your side, letting everything go, just feeling this full release of the arms. Now raising one arm or the right arm and turning the palm and raising it up again slowly and deliberately as we move the right arm and allow it to rise up. As we do this, noticing the left arm as it's along our side and just allowing the left arm to move down the seam of your pants. So the right arm stretching up towards the ceiling, the left arm reaching down towards the ground. And if it's okay for your neck, possibly even looking up towards the right hand. And if it feels safe, lifting the opposite heel up off the ground. So the left heel up off the ground, the right arm stretching upwards. And feeling the effects of the stretch. When ready, lowering the heel, lowering the head, lowering the right arm, and just returning back to mountain pose. Now the left arm turns and raises up to the side. The right arm is sliding down the side of the body. Left arm reaching up overhead. Feeling the stretch. Then looking up towards the left palm if that's appropriate for your neck. And when ready, possibly lifting the right heel up off the ground, moving slightly onto the right toes, and just feeling more deeply into this stretch. Now lowering the heel, bringing the head back down. Allowing the left arm to drift back down to the side. Just returning to mountain pose. Just returning once again. So we'll do this again on each side, and this time moving at your own pace. And each time you reach up, maybe envisioning that you're raising up and reaching as if you're picking an apple from the top of a tree branch. Raising the arm, looking upwards, lifting the opposite heel. Right, reaching for that apple as if it's just a little bit out of reach. And just exploring each side. Maybe even allowing ourselves to explore this movement at a little quicker pace. Always within our comfort zone, always under control. And if you notice that your mind has moved away from the present moment, just pausing and coming back. And then when ready, just coming back to stillness in mountain pose. And now continuing on with our practice, moving on. This time raising both arms up, raising them overhead. And you can either join them together at the wrist or the fingers, or just keep them both outstretched, straight above the shoulders. Whatever's most comfortable for you. And then reaching with both arms over to one side. Feeling a slight stretch in the side body. Just going as far as your body wants you to go. And then returning back to center. And from this center position, seeing if you can even grow a little bit taller, just from the heels up to the crown of the head. And then when ready, arching over to the other side. Stretching both hands over. Feeling the stretch. And then returning back to standing. And as we're reaching up, just noticing if it's also possible to reach down towards the ground at the same time, creating this length in the body, this lifting up and rooting down, inviting spaciousness and ease. And reaching over to the other side once again. Coming back to center, stretching and leaning to the other side. Feeling the side stretch. And then coming back up and landing in mountain pose, allowing the arms to lower down along the sides. Now working with the shoulders from mountain pose, bringing the shoulders forwards and opening up the upper back, and then reversing and coming backwards. There's so many ways of working with the shoulders and shoulder rolls, and this is just one of them. So starting from the backwards position and then moving the shoulders forward, stretching the upper back, moving the shoulders backwards. Feeling this stretch from front to back. And letting the shoulders drop down and Then bringing them up to the ears, bringing them back down when feels right. And just repeating this at your own pace. Lifting the shoulders up, dropping the shoulders down. Maybe even combining these motions, moving the shoulders forwards and then up, and then back, and then down. And just rotating the shoulders, finding a rhythm. Pausing for a moment. Now rotating them in the opposite direction. Just exploring and having fun with the conditions of the shoulders. Also being aware of any tension building up in the neck and working with what's comfortable. And when ready, just returning back to our standing position. Again, pausing and sensing into the impact of the movements thus far on the body, on the mind, and the emotions. These movement practices are not just about how far we can stretch or how much movement is possible. It's really about what shows up in awareness. And then bringing kindness to it. This welcoming of friendliness towards ourselves. From mountain pose, we're doing a little work with the neck. So again, for those of us who might be dealing with any kind of arthritis or tension or any neck issues, just being careful, staying very much within your range. So starting by just slowly nodding a bit down, so allowing the chin to drop towards the chest, allowing the head to move up, and down, and up. Being mindful of lifting the head up and not straining or pinching the neck. You can do this with the eyes open or closed, whatever your preference is. And just doing this a few times, moving up and down. And then pausing, returning to our standing position. Then turning the head in one direction, and then the other. So we're rotating the head and neck to the left, feeling that stretch, and then to the right. And just moving at our own pace, at our own comfort level. Just slowly moving to the left, slowly moving to the right. Again, being very cautious at the end of our range. Not testing it too much, especially in the beginning. So we're moving the head and neck, but allowing the shoulders to face forward. Really doing our best to move the head and neck without this rotation of the shoulders. Then pausing and returning to standing. Now, if you feel called, allowing the neck to just roll or rotate as needed, moving the head in a circular or oval pattern in one direction, feeling the stretch of the neck. And then switching directions when ready. And just returning back to standing. Noticing the shoulders, the neck, the throat, the entire body. Just noticing the impact these exercises have on us. And maybe even the impact it has on our breathing. So from mountain pose, we'll be doing some balancing postures now. Moving into the poses with just the arms at first. So leaving the legs down to support the base of the body. If you're standing, I would encourage you to now bring the hands to the heart. So palms touching, both hands touching in front of the heart. Taking your time. And then offering a couple of options in terms of balancing. So as the hands are brought to the heart, lifting the hands up towards the ceiling. You might even look up at them as they go up. And then allowing them to come back down and drift into the T shape. So arms are now outstretched on the sides of the body. Body falls into a T. Arms are parallel with the ground. If you have any concerns about your balance, or you know that balance might be challenging, and you have a surface nearby, you can hold on to that surface with just one hand so that you have a little extra support. And then we'll be shifting the weight into one foot, and then lifting the opposite foot up off the ground and out to the side. Another option is to keep the toes on the ground as you lift the foot to the side, allowing the toes to stay on the ground, or lifting the leg completely off the ground, off to the side. Taking good care of yourself, just knowing what feels right for you today in this practice. And then gently allowing the arms and the foot to come back down to the ground. Maybe taking a big inhalation and then an exhale. And then we start to move to the other side. But we'll start by bringing the hands once again to the heart, lifting the arms up overhead, allowing the arms to start to drop down, extending the arms out, and falling back into a T shape. We're looking forward, shifting the weight to the other foot, and then lifting the foot any amount. Remembering you don't have to hold this posture long, just exploring what's right for you. So leg extended out, toes can be supporting the leg by touching the ground or completely lifted. Coming back down to the ground. Lowering the arms. And maybe here again, taking a nice deep inhalation. Exhaling. Bringing the hands once again to the heart center. Lifting them up overhead. Dropping them into a T shape. Lifting the foot out to the side. Feeling the balance that's required in some of these movements that are happening in the foot. Lowering the foot down. Bringing the hands to the heart. Reaching up overhead. Arms going parallel with the floor. Lifting the foot up. This action of balancing, experimenting with balancing, Gently coming down. Just returning back to our mountain pose. Maybe noticing the effort that's needed for the body to balance, and just noticing what it feels like. Noticing the sensations that are present. So from here, we'll bring the hands to the hips, if that's comfortable for you. And from standing, we'll let our chin take the lead. So following our chin and our nose as we start to look over one shoulder. So looking to the right or left. Just choosing one direction. Then just slowly twisting the head, the neck, shoulders, the torso, and the hips. Just allowing this twisting sensation to move from the head down towards the feet. Maybe even feeling a slight twist in the lower body. And then switching and looking over the other side. So uncoiling and starting to twist in the other direction. Not pushing beyond our limits or boundaries, just experimenting here. What is the right amount of holding and stretching? And then returning back to center. And then if you'd like, you can intensify the stretch a bit by bringing the feet together. You can also leave them open if that's better for you. If you have any issues or concerns with this motion, keeping them open may be more supportive. And then repeating the same thing, just taking some time to look over one shoulder. Is there a difference here? Do we notice a difference between the twists on each side? And coming back to center, and then moving to the other side. And then coming back to center once again. Allowing the feet to come back, the hips to return to center, and moving into mountain pose. Moving now into our forward bend. If you have any dizziness concerns or issues, it might be better to stay in the standing mountain. But if you feel safe, we're going to start by bringing the chin to the chest. Just noticing the stretch in the back of the neck. And then letting the head kind of help us as we make our way to the ground. That weight of the head leading us down towards the ground. And again, just bending over any amount that's right for you. It might be a full forward bend, or it might even just be a slight lean forward. While in the full forward bend, you might want to grab the elbows or reach down towards the floor with the fingertips. You can move the head a bit, as if you're shaking the head slightly, if that's supportive. The body puts a lot of effort into supporting the weight of the upper body and the head. And this posture, we can really let gravity just release some of this tension or some of this holding. So from here, we're going to bring our hands just above the knees so that they're resting on the upper thighs or the upper legs, and then coming up into a tabletop position so the back is flat. And then from there, moving our hands to the hips, then bringing the entire body up to standing, taking time, protecting the lower back. And then as you reach the top, just resting here in this mountain pose, just standing, allowing the blood to flow back down through the body. Just taking some moments here. Just really sensing into the body, into the mind. Just being aware of what's present. So we're going to do another balancing posture. And from standing, we'll start by just lifting the arms up in front of you so that they're about the same level as the shoulders. Arms are parallel with the ground. And then we'll be sitting back as if we're going to sit in a chair. So kind of making sure that our knees aren't going beyond our toes. Bending the knees, lowering or dropping the hips slightly towards the floor. This is similar to as if we were practicing like a downhill skiing position. So knees are bent, the thighs are activated, making sure that the shoulders aren't moving too far forward, just experimenting with the strength here. Noticing the balance and again what feels right. Gently coming up as you feel ready. Maybe if you feel supported by a deep breath, feeling free to do that, or just feeling into the breath, and then just resting for a moment. Connected with the body. Just repeating this pose again, raising the arms out in front, bending the knees, lowering the hips, raising up when ready and returning to mountain pose. Just noticing the effort that was required for that position. So moving into tree pose, this is another balancing pose, and so offering a few options here before we move into the posture. One option is to stay in standing pose with both feet on the ground as you reach upwards. Another option would be to just have the toes of one foot on the ground, or to place the bottom of the foot just at the very base of the shin. Another option would be to move the bottom of the foot up the leg and placing it on the inner thigh. It's important, though, not to balance the foot or the bottom of the foot on the knee itself. The knees are actually very delicate, and we don't want to cause any harm by adding any extra pressure to the inside of the knee. If you have a wall nearby, you can also use that to support any of the options that I've suggested. You can do this by simply placing the fingers of the palm on the wall, helping to stabilize our balance. So moving into tree pose, bringing the arms out to the side, moving the leg or foot into your desired position. If you feel able, moving the hands up overhead. And then maybe coming back down. And let's try it on the other side. So same thing. Arms are coming out to the side. Choosing our desired tree with our foot either on the ground or on the leg. If we feel stable, raising the hands up overhead. And then coming back down. So we can do that one more time on each side. So lifting the arms out to the side. Stretching out overhead. Coming back down. Raising the arms out to the side. Placing the foot. And reaching towards the sky, if appropriate, if there's balance. And then coming back down, lowering the arms, lowering the leg, returning to mountain pose. Again, just acknowledging all the parts of the body that we're supporting here. And so from here, we'll make our way onto the ground, taking your time. As we move our way down, if you have any props that might be supportive for hip flexibility, feel free to bring them. That could include a blanket or a pillow. As we transition from standing to sitting, so once sitting, we'll move into our butterfly stretch. You can just start by bringing the bottom of your feet together, any amount. Some people have very flexible hips, while others have tighter hips. So as we start to settle into this position, if your knees are higher, you can always use your elbows to just gently encourage the knees towards the ground. But we're not striving or pushing the knees down. We're taking care as we drop into this posture. If you have more flexibility in the hips and the knees, they'll fall naturally out to the sides. And if this is the case, keeping the chin to the chest. You can also lean forward slightly and deeper into the stretch. Just really feeling what's right for you. Feeling what's supportive and nurturing today. Not forcing the muscles before they're relaxed or ready, just feeling something in this stretch. The hips are starting to open or become a little looser, you can lean in and stretch a little further in. But really working with where our body's at today. And allowing the knees to lift up slightly. And from here, we're going to do some stretches with the hamstring. So you can keep one foot in from our butterfly pose, but we'll extend one foot out straight in front of us. I would encourage you as we do this stretch to kind of shift the hips so that they're pointed towards the leg that is stretched outward. And so we have one foot on the inner thigh, one foot stretched outward. And then stretching the body, the torso nice and tall up towards the ceiling. Hands reach up towards the ceiling. Doing our best to keep the lower back straight and not hunched. And then reaching outward and just easing forward into the stretch any amount. The hands can be on the ankles, the shins, or you can be supporting yourself with the ground on either side of the knee. Just lowering the head towards the knee any amount, not pushing. This might be a small amount depending on if your hamstring is tight. Just exploring what's possible in this position. Feeling the stretch. And then taking your time as we gently move back up. We're now going to switch both feet. So outstretching the other leg. tucking the other leg in to the inner thigh, raising the arms up overhead, stretching the upper body towards the ceiling, and then leaning forward and dropping in. Putting the hands on the ankle, the shins, resting the palms or the elbows even on the floor on each side of the knee. Lowering the head any amount if the body feels it has the ability. Just feeling the stretch. And then taking care as we slowly move up, gently move back up into our sitting position. And as you come up, we're going to move our way onto our back. And we're going to move into resting pose. Taking your time as you do this. So laying flat on our back, giving all of our weight to the floor. Feet falling to the side, palms facing down or facing up. Just fully giving our weight and falling into resting pose. Just taking stock of how the body is now after we've moved through these various postures and movements. Maybe acknowledging the care and the attention that you've given to your body today. The strength and the stability of your body. Just dropping into resting pose. Should be no effort in this pose. And as our practice starts to come to a close, feel free to stay in resting pose after the bell. But just allowing yourself to ease into this moment and ease back to your day when you decide to come up off your mat and transitioning to all the different parts of our day.